So let's talk about this Georgia defense. Do you think, CC, they can slow down Baker Mayfield, sick or otherwise, later today?
The Georgia defense has been great against everyone except Auburn. People forget that Auburn at that time was the best team in college football. Back-to-back weeks beat Georgia and Alabama. So, yes, this Georgia defense is very good. They got pushed around against Notre Dame. Oklahoma is very different than Notre Dame. Notre Dame runs the ball, can't throw the ball. Now, Oklahoma can do both. Watch the running backs out of the backfield in Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's ability to find his third and fourth receiver and his ability to ad-lib better than anyone in college football to give them extra time against the Georgia defense will be very physical. I don't think the question will be Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to be great in these games. Heisman Trophy winners typically have not fared well in the playoff system, but Baker Mayfield, I believe, leads Oklahoma against a Georgia team that will be challenged by a freshman quarterback, who I believe is the least talented of all the quarterbacks in the playoff series.
For Oklahoma to win, Baker Mayfield's going to have to be great because they're the only team in the playoff that doesn't have a great defense. Alabama, Clemson, who I know we're going to talk about in a little bit, and Georgia. That's 3 of the top 4 scoring defenses in college football, all holding opponents under 14 points per game. So those teams have gotten here with good offenses and punch-you-in-the-mouth defenses.
Oh, question for you 1 second. Don't you think some of those numbers are a little inflated because of the lack of good offenses they played against or the lack of good quarterbacks that are in the SEC?
Certainly, maybe not for Clemson, but yes, certainly for Georgia and Alabama, I do think. I agree with you. But also, we know that on Georgia, they got Roquan Smith, and Lorenzo Carter, 2 of the best linebackers in college football. We know Alabama's got pros on defense. So I do think, I think Georgia's defense is legit, even if the numbers are slightly inflated. It's a good point. There's one way to slow down Baker Mayfield. And note, I didn't say stop him because nobody's been able to stop him all year. But to slow him down, you have to find a way to get pressure on him. When his regular numbers, he leads college football in everything. Passer rating, completion percentage. He's averaging nearly 12 yards per attempt. Not completion, attempt. Just every time he drops back to pass. That completion percentage drops down to 53% under pressure. His touchdown interception ratio, 8-2 under pressure. Now, those are better numbers than the average quarterback, but that's the only way to slow him down. And as you mentioned, CC, if you can keep him in the pocket. Now, that's asking Georgia to do something no one's been able to do in college football all year long. Georgia will be able to score some points on the Oklahoma defense. The question is, can they hold Baker Mayfield under 30, 35? Like, it's a hell of a test for them.
So if you're going to spend so much time protecting him, maybe this game comes down to the trenches and who is going to really jump out at that point.
If Georgia can get it right, if Georgia can get a pass rush on Baker Mayfield and get him to the ground, they got a good shot.
And Georgia's got to run the ball. With their 2 running backs, Chubb and Sony Michel, you got to be able to run the ball to keep Oklahoma's offense off the field.
But, Nick, if Clemson wins this, will they surpass Alabama as the premier program in college football?
To me, they will. And I think most notably and most importantly, to recruits, they will. The thing about 16, 17, 18-year-olds is they have short memories and they're kids. And if Clemson wins this game, here's their, right now, Alabama versus Clemson in the last 5 years. Alabama has 62 wins. Clemson has 61 wins. They both have 1 national championship. They both have 1 national championship loss to the opposing team. This is a game where Clemson can, to me, establish itself as, right now today, the premier program in college football. Now, they would likely have to finish it off a week later by winning the championship, but I think the winner of this game will be a heavy favorite in the championship game. Alabama has been a Patriot level of consistency since Nick Saban got there, but amazingly, and I mean this, again, it's an unfair standard, in the last 5 years, they just have the 1 national title. And so if they don't make the final this year.
In the last 5 years, who has more than titles than that?
Well, it would, nobody.
No. Oh, no one.
Nobody. But
so in the last 5 years, how many titles? Everyone has 1. Alabama has 1. Clemson's got 1.
Florida State has 1.
Florida State's got 1.
Right.
Ohio State's got 1.
Right, absolutely. But I'm talking about if Clemson wins this game, what it would do to them as far as the premier program in college football. That's where I think they are, and I think Clemson happens to be the better team in this game.
It is tough. I believe this Alabama team is not the team that we've seen. The first game of the season against Florida State, that was a very good Alabama defense. I think this in the bowl game, this will be the best Alabama defense that we've seen. They've had a lot of injuries, had 4 linebackers hurt down the stretch. That's the reason why I believe that they lose the Auburn game. Offensively, now they're still a little challenged as far as their big play ability. Can their quarterback make enough plays? That's what's really going to build the difference in this game. Can the quarterback make enough plays? Right now, you could say if Clemson wins this game, yes, they are the prominent program in college football. You can only do for 5 years. Because if you go 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, no. But if you're younger and you want to say in the last 5 years, you couldn't give it to anyone before this championship. Alabama is still the preeminent program in college football. And the reason why is Nick Saban. And the reason why is they have so many players drafted high. College kids, they want to play. They do like Dabo. Dabo has the quarterback situation figured out. That was to make his program a little bit stronger. He developed Deshaun Watson, developing Kelly Bryant right now. So I would think the edge is just right now because of the quarterback a little bit to Clemson. But in the long haul, you go Alabama and you go Nick Saban.
When it comes to recruiting, do you think the long haul applies that much to these guys? I mean, you know.
Well, in recruiting, I'm going to tell you what it's about. It's about playing right now. If a kid thinks he can play right now, he'll go to that school. There's not a big difference between the University of Georgia, the University of Alabama, the University of Clemson, and Ohio State, Florida State. There's not a lot of big differences to kids.
Right.
Now, we might try to act like there is, but there's really not. Can I play? Are they playing in the big-time conference? Do they have great facilities? And all these do, and they all have a great coach.
When you do a lot of the reading about this game, everyone tries to match everyone up with this offense and this ground game, and they're giving up 265 yards. But these two teams have played each other twice before. These two teams know each other. It has the feel that you want to just sort of throw away all the statistical minutia and watch these two teams who fare well against each other just go out and kind of battle it out on the field.
The only major distinction I would draw between what we've seen the last 2 years and what we're going to see tonight is the last 2 years, the best player on the field will not be playing in this game. In the game Clemson lost and the game Clemson won, the best player on the field was their quarterback. And I think those Alabama teams, I think top to bottom, were better than this Alabama team.
Yes.
And I think that's why Clemson has a real shot tonight. I think they'll win tonight, even though, and no disrespect to Kelly Bryant, he's not Deshaun Watson. Maybe he will be, but right now he's not what Watson was. The other interesting note in this game is going to be in both these games, I guess, is we're going to get more evidence of whether or not the SEC, which became the first conference to get 2 teams in the college football playoff, was any damn good this year. Right now, the SEC is getting its butt kicked in bowls. It's now 7-12 as a conference against other Power 5 schools on the year. Compare that to the Big Ten, which has been dominating in bowls and is winning about 70% against other Power 5 conferences, and the Big Ten, which was left out of the playoffs. So this is a big, from conference respect perspective, both these games are big for the SEC.
I think we'll leave the college playoff and know that the SEC is very, very strong at the top, and the rest of the conference is not very good. That's why they're not the best conference. That's why the Big Ten is the best conference top to bottom.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.